start recording. And yeah, now we can get into the discussion about the live action One Piece. I really enjoy. I really enjoyed it. It's like the first real live action adaptation that I don't even know if I've seen any others, but I don't. I know I've heard of how terrible a lot of the other ones were, like Dragon Ball, and um, I tried to start watching that one Cowboy Bebop one, but I didn't really get into it. Um, but yeah, I don't think I'd really seen anyone, mainly just because a lot of them weren't that good. Um, and that's but this was the first one that was like really, it looked good from, like, I was like, wow, that looks like the anime, like it's supposed to. Uh, but yeah, like it the cast really seemed to embody the characters as well, and that's was such a real refreshing thing. It's not like with Dragon Ball Evolution or whatever, where it's like this guy that they just kind of like threw the name Goku on, and nothing about him resembled Goku at all. Um, this one actually felt like there was a lot of time, dedication, and uh, heart into it. Um, a lot of love going into it as well. So yeah, like that was really fun. When I watched the actual show, I was actually surprised at how dark some things got. Like, not necessarily visually, sometimes visually, but more so just like, oh wow, they just killed that guy or something like that. And it's like, and honestly, I think that there's some issues that some people are saying that it's not 100% like the anime, and I'm like, of course it's not. They had to cut out some stuff. So like I fully expected stuff to be condensed and stuff to be taken out. Um, and the stuff that they did take out, or the stuff that they changed, I honestly don't have a problem with it. I think a lot of it is really good. Um, if we want to talk about what some of those changes are, I might get into that a little later on. So this is kind of light spoiler uh, for like this light spoiler discussion, but um, I'm also going to go into what arcs are coming next, because I kind of want to, that kind of wants is what I want the focus of this uh, discussion to be about, is like what I want to see from the next season and the future of One Piece, with the live action. And I'll be going through each arcs, and I'll actually kind of give my take on what I think they could change, what I think they could do to sort of rearrange it. Certain arcs, maybe rearrange certain arcs to better fit some of the theming and characters, and really just making the best out of what they have in the story, because a lot of it can be, there's a lot of stuff that can kind of be put elsewhere and kind of be like mixed around, but um for the most part it just feels like they could just do a straight shot to the end, and that be I don't know. But as for with some of the things I like, I will say that like they changed with the series. I think I'm going to discuss a one big change, which was did involve a character death. So there, that is one of the spoilers as well. But for the most part, I think but the most part, I think that there's going to be, it's mostly light spoilers. I might get into certain arcs and what I would want to see, and I might discuss with like the next like, oh, with what they do with this arc and this arc, but I'm gonna try to keep that general and less, maybe not less specific, but just more about the overall arc and less about like details of that arc, and just be like, well, they could move this arc to this and it would be a little bit better for this character's story or whatever. I think so. I'm really excited that they announced the season 2 for One Piece, and the fact that they've already got it written. The thing is, I don't know if that means that they'll. I think that's going to be. I'm going to start with what the next season, what I kind of think they're going to do, and so and that kind of shows also for spoilers of the live action where they ended. So so that is a bit of a spoiler in and of itself as far as what should be what's going to be in the next season. So so that being said, I'm going to move this up. Not that far. Okay, there I am. Yeah, so one of the next arcs is Logetown. Logetown, which has Smoker and Buggy. Buggy's return, Buggy and Alvida's return, and Smoker. The introduction of Smoker. This one can probably be condensed down to a single episode, unless they want to go all out with Buggy. And I kind of hope they do. Now, that being said, they could still go all out with Buggy, with Buggy's revenge plot, and do the Smoker stuff, and have it be a single episode. I think some of the things that were a little lacking in season 1, depending on what the budget is like for season 2, could be really expanded upon for particularly Buggy, and the Orange Town, I think. No, what town is it? Is it Orange Town? I don't remember. But anyway, that first arc with Buggy, there were some things that were taken out that they could bring back for Loketown and have an interesting, and that could be an interesting and very cool action sequence. I think it makes the most sense with, given that with some of the background characters for in the Buggy arc kind of didn't really get a chance to shine. So I think it would make more sense to see them show up and them actually do stuff and actually pose a threat to the Straw Hats in Loketown. Loketown's also where Nami gets, I believe this is where Nami gets her sort of weather weapon that she uses. So yeah, there's a lot to be done in this, but I think it could be condensed down to a single episode. Now, depending on how much they want to stretch, they could change it 2 episodes and have like full on Buggy for 1 episode and then Smoker for the next. I don't know if that would be better or if that would be worse, but I love Buggy in the live action, so I would not be disappointed in more Buggy. But yeah, I think that's just kind of where I'm at. I think it's probably going to be 1 episode, but we'll see. It depends. It also depends on how many episodes they're getting next season as far as where they're going to end up. But as far as that goes, that's Lockdown. Next is Drum Island. And let me. And whoops. I think when it comes to Drum Island, there's a couple of things that I think I am going to discuss potential fan castings. I am going to discuss fan castings for that, but for oh my gosh, I don't know why this is not. But I feel like one fan cast that I think a lot of fans have already kind of voiced their support for, and is probably going to happen. It's probably going to be, it's going to happen. And like I said, I'll get more into some of them. So I will full disclosure. I don't have that fan cast in the next in that discussion about about the fan cast discussion, because it's pretty much it's just Jamie Lee Curtis as Correa. So that should just be a done deal. I think if you just look that up, it's pretty much seems to be a done deal. Anyway, moving on to the backtracking a little bit, because I noticed I didn't put it in, but the initial part of Alabasta, where they meet Vivi, Laboon, and the reverse mountain and everything like that. That can be an episode as well. That could even be the tail end of. No, I think that should probably be, just because of how Laboon. Now, as far as like the changes in the plot, I don't know where they would do that, but that could be one episode that could kind of introduce you to Baroque Works. That could introduce you to the that Vivi joining the group, just kind of everything that you kind of expect from that. Introducing Laboon as well. I think the Laboon stuff needs to happen. People say like, oh, they're probably going to skip it, just like the Four Kids dub did. But I'm like, the Four Kids dub didn't have the foresight of Brooke and his backstory. So yeah, I think Laboon is going to have to be in this arc. I think some of the big things with and I think that's just pretty much just going to be so the first episode. That's just why I think Loketown is probably going to be one episode. But like I said, it could be two if they have the majority of the buggies. If they split it into two, they could have the reverse mountain and Vivi, introducing Vivi in at the end of that episode. So that would be essentially two episodes down. Then we get to Drum Island. This is introducing Chopper, who joins the crew. Vivi joins the crew in the other one as well, but that's her in the blue hair, if you're not familiar. But if you're not familiar, why are you watching this? But I think it would be. I think this one kind of is pretty straightforward. You have Walpole as the villain. You have um, it's just pretty straightforward. I think the biggest issue is, do you have Chopper's backstory be its own episode, or is it going to intertwine into one episode and Chopper join the crew? I think you can get that. So this would just be one episode, so 3 episodes down, um, with this, and I think this one you can just do pretty straightforward. I think the Nami situation is an important thing as well for the Straw Hats. Um, Now I think just like if anything gets condensed, it's just unnecessary characters or um, battles that don't really amount to much. But yeah, like you can try to at least have a moment with each individual character in this, and I think um, that would be what this arc would entail, and then of course Chopper joining the crew. Now, this one. Whoa. Now, on to the big uh, situation, which is the Alabasta arc. Um, I'm not sure how much this would be. We've already got 3 episodes. Fourth one, probably Bon Clay. Um, I don't really remember a whole lot about the uh, Alabasta saga. I'm not gonna lie. I haven't really watched um, this early One Piece since honestly the Four Kids dub, because I just recently started rewatching that, and I think Four Kids dub, especially with the Alabasta arc, really took crazy liberties and just kind of, I'm not 100% sure what exactly happens in this arc, but I know the Bon Clay situation, and he is going to have a episode, or major point in his episode, and I think that um like the introduction to Alabasta and all the other stuff can be um some of the other characters as well, some of the other Broke Works members, um and then up to, I know, was it Little Garden, which I don't think they should do the Little Garden saga just yet. Let me actually pull up the arcs ahead of this before I get too far ahead of myself. But I think with yes, Reverse Mountain, Whiskey Peak, which we talked about, um, and then Little Garden, and then Drum Island. So I think Little Garden, in my opinion, that um, I think the biggest thing is maybe swapping that out with something and having them fight the other Broke Works members during Whiskey Peak and the Reverse Mountain situation, and having that all be one thing, and then just skip the Little Garden arc. I have an idea for where the Little Garden arc can go, later on. But I think the little garden arc with the giants and everything, it would be tough to try to fit that in for this season. Um, but yeah, Drum Island, and then pretty much Alabasta, Arabasta, Alabasta, whichever one. Um, yeah, that is just a huge saga. Like I said, they've already got um, three major. Um, Now, I mean, they could just play this one. So if they have like what the three episodes, um, Bon Clay is gonna have his own episode, um, and you can kind of intercut some of the Navy stuff as well, particularly with Kobe and Helmeppo, and kind of get into that training as well because there is a precedent for that. You can also introduce some other Navy characters as well. They've also kind of intertwined. I think one thing that they've kind of hinted at is particularly they said Axe Hand Morgan. I'm gonna say in the live action dub, or not live dub. Why did I say dub? But in the live action version, they did say that Kuro was captured by Axe Hand Morgan, and I don't know if that was in the original. But if that's the case, then somebody could technically be in the place of. That could also justify why we didn't see a specific character in Kuro's story, which was a major change. And if that was a major change for that, maybe his story is more gets more involved in with the Marine situation, um, and that would be the Captain Kuro's right hand man Django, who has yet to appear in that. And I think that would actually, just given what happens, because I've just kind of looked that up as far as like what happens with him, and there's an interesting situation that happens with him that could fold nicely into the narrative of that they're going with, and it would be interesting to see this take on him. Um, I'm being intentionally vague, but yeah, like I think it would be very interesting to see how that works. But anyway, that would be the fourth episode, and honestly, this is kind of a crazy thing, but it's like they could get through Skypiea pretty much. Um, I can't imagine them getting all the way through Water 7 by this time, unless, like I said, this would be 4 episodes. 5 would be pretty much the whole crocodile situation, um, and fighting the other characters. Um, so that would be 5 episodes. If they have a 10 episode season, they could get to Water 7. They could get through Water 7 actually. Um, and that would actually be a really good ending for season 2 if they have 10 episodes. If they have 8, then they may have to stretch a bit they may have to stretch a bit or condense. Like I said, if they condense the Logetown stuff and have the Reverse Mountain and Whiskey Peak stuff all in one episode, then this would be what, the first 3 episodes, and by the third episode you get Bon Clay, and the fourth episode you're already fighting down Crocodile, um, and having that storyline. Um, I would say Bon Clay and also the military and Crocodile major the major plot point in with Crocodile, or I think the major introduction of Crocodile. Um, uh, I honestly, again, I don't know how much. It all depends on how much they want to stretch out the Alabasta stuff. I think they could legitimately stretch that out to like they could stretch it out to um I don't know, they could stretch it out to like 3 or 4 different yeah, I mean they could stretch it out to a like the thing is that's the thing. Depending on how they decide to play this, they could either have a very they could have like this take up the rest of the season and the ending be Vivi leaving the Straw Hat crew, um, or you have like essentially the or you have like I said condensed it down to just 5 pretty much 5 episodes for everything and like everything in Alabast from Logetown to Alabast be 5 episodes, and then just again, like I said, if there's 10 episodes, the next 5 episodes would be all uh, would be Skypiea, and then everything pretty much you'd be set for Skypiea and Skypiea, Water 7, Innis Lobby, and the wrap up. Um, yeah, I think that would be essentially what if they have that in season 2, if they have 10 episodes for season 2, that's what I would hope that they can do, is just have essentially Crocodile as the mid-season like break, I guess, is if that makes sense. But yeah, like the whole Crocodile situation be the first 4 or 5 episodes. Everything up until or everything. Yeah, so I guess I'm getting a little ahead of myself right now, but yeah, let's just move on. Um, uh, but yeah, I think that would pretty much do it for Crocodile and that would pretty much do it for Crocodile and Alabasta as a storyline. Now, Skypiea is an interesting one. Um, I don't know how this would work. First off, the Jaya stuff, introducing it, I think can probably be condensed down to just a couple of things, not necessarily. I think the reason they had in like the a lot of people are saying because they had posters of Bellamy and Foxy, that means that they have to show up later on. I think maybe they're looking at that wrong, and maybe the reasons they're in the posters is because they're not going to get to them. So they wanted to have um, they wanted to have an homage to those characters, even though weren't going to, because they weren't going to cover them. I think if that's the way they're looking at it, then yeah, Bellamy stuff gets cut out of Jaya arc, and you just have pretty much Blackbeard talking about the about Skypiea, Luffy and Blackbeard, that whole whatever. Oops, it's Black. That's kind of a that's kind of a spoiler that it's Blackbeard. Oh well. Um, I'm going to talk a little bit more about Blackbeard. I'm not even going to show his. I'm going to even show his face because I have a fan cast for him. So that's not a big issue. But again, Skypiea would be again if we've got 5 episodes. Okay, 5 episodes, then Skypiea would be the 6th episode, and I think that would just be good. I think the only things you really need to hit on are Inaru, which is going to be the bad of this episode, and then even before that, you'll probably have them traveling to Skypiea, going in that whole situation, and probably have the Usopp situation where he meets the spirit of the Going Merry. Now, I think this may be where I think that they can do something, and this is where a spoiler. I'm going to spoil something that happens in the live action show, so just skip ahead if for that. But I think the spirit of the Going Merry could be voiced by Mary, the guy who played Mary in since he was killed by Kuro. So I think that could be a really interesting way to bring back a character that people were disappointed that he was killed. I think that would be a great way of kind of bringing him back, and kind of it'd be the best character to play the Going Merry, I think, for the voice of the Going Merry, which is going to be a thing, and I hope that they keep it a thing. But yeah, it would still just be, it'd be kind of like the spirit of the Going Merry, and like he was kind of like, he's like, I don't know if it would be kind of like haunting the ship. He's more like being the guardian angel of the ship. So I feel like haunting the ship is a little more weird, a weird way of looking at it, but yeah, it would still kind of work. But yeah, like it, and yeah, they could just still keep it vague and not explain that, like, oh, it's supposed to be Mary's ghost, and I'm like, well, it could, you can see it as either Mary's ghost or the spirit of the Going Merry, and I think either way is valid. And I think that if they make it vague like that and don't try to kind of like explain it in a certain way, or like try to keep that like as a like they could still have the same actor and him being the voice of the Going Merry, and just saying like I'm going to keep you going for a little bit longer and hammering at the ship. I think that would be a very cool moment, and the fact that it would be like the fact that Mary, the fact that it would be that it's the same actor that does that played Mary, it would just kind of be icing on the cake for that. And I think that would be a great way of kind of harkening back to that particular instance. And a side tangent, since we're still talking about since we're still talking about Usopp's situation with talking about Usopp's past with things with Syrup Village, I think one thing that they could do to, I guess, lighten up the situation in where it's like to lighten up the situation where Because now that Mary's not there, um, she's kind of alone. I'm blanking on her name right now. Uh, Ke- oh my gosh. Why am I blanking on her name? Kaya. Wow. Okay. Yeah. Since Kaya's kind of alone, I think one way they can solve that is have, um, and I'll get, I might get into more detail, but when they they can flash back, or not flash back, but they can kind of have the kids from the village be sort of, um, I guess this would make more sense for once we get to Water Seven and after at in its lobby. So it would be better painted. It'd be better to paint that in those situations. But for now, was this the sixth episode? Sixth episode, just do do Skypea and that just be one episode. I think you can condense a lot in Skypea. So if anything needs to be trimmed, Skypea would be perfectly acceptable for me to trim. Um, but let's get on to one that where now I'm a little bit more familiar with because I just recently watched this, and that is Water 7. And you know what? I'm just going to keep it like this because even though I know it's not, it can be cropped out. I could crop it, edit everything, and crop it out a little bit more, but this is fine. Um, but with Water 7 is an interesting arc. Introduces Frankie, who, uh, I mean, there's just a whole bunch of what you can do. Introduces, I think, honestly, this might be a two-parter. There's so much that happens with Water 7 that I can't imagine um, it being just one part for Water 7. So, to break it down a little bit, I think you could just first the sea train, maybe introduce the sea train and the concept of the sea train, and then the sea train, introduce the sea train, and I guess. See, the thing is, would you still introduce, um, uh, what is her name? So this would be if this is still the first season, and this is pretty crazy because this is the sixth. So if it's an 8 episode season, you really only have 2 episodes to do Water 7 and Innis Lobby. I don't think that's enough, and I think it, which is why I hope that they would get 10. That way you could at least maybe have extend Crocodiles to 3 episodes because that probably is more accurate, and then that way you have 3 episodes for all of this. Um, so you would probably have um, everything up until the fight with Usopp, everything up until Luffy and Usopp's fight, introducing all the characters in Water 7, or a majority of the characters. You don't really need to go into every single. You can go into every single thing, but I think introducing Water 7 is the one where I think they can really have some creative liberty and really, I think Water 7 and Ennis Lobby. I think there's a character that could be expanded upon in this, and you can actually do that really simply. And I think one way they could do that is um, the whole situation with Usopp losing the money. Um, Maybe everybody takes him to Blue Nose Bar, um, and after that, um, either after that is when Usopp tries to go back and tries to prove himself to Frankie, or that's when he challenges Luffy. Um, I think they can probably skip him. I don't know. I think you need to have him get kidnapped and beaten up by the Frankie family first, and then the scene with Usopp and Nami, um, and then Zoro, Luffy, everybody just destroying the Frankie house. Um, then them going to the bar, which would be Blue Nose Bar, um, and trying to cheer, like, because they still don't have the money, so they'll try to cheer um, Usopp up by going to the bar, um, and then that could devolve into Usopp challenging. Um, Now I don't want it to be make it seem like it's a drunk battle, but this would also be them trying to break the news to him that they can't fix the Going Merry. If they do it in the Blue Nose Bar, that would be a first off, it'd make Blue Nose Bar a lot more important of a uh, of a of a it'd be more important of a place, because I don't think they really do anything there. But I think that would be a great place to introduce that idea, and then they can introduce Bluno as well. Um, but yeah, that would be a great way to present that situation, a great set piece, essentially, for that unfolding, them essentially breaking the news to Usopp that they can't fix the Going Merry. Um, and then, of course, that devolves into Usopp challenging Luffy, and then the fight, which would be really, really cool. And um, and then them going back to the Going Merry, and then him, yeah, and then essentially them going back to the Going Merry, and then the fight break out, or the Usopp and the battle between Usopp and Luffy, and then after that is when things kick off with Iceberg, and the Usopp, yeah, the Usopp, the Straw Hats being sort of framed for the assassination attempt. Um, and that could be just that first episode. Everything from that moment could be that first episode, and then obviously Frankie coming back and making that big scene, where he's kind of where Luffy first kind of introduces him, or Luffy first sees who Frankie is, and they first essentially that whole situation, and then everything, probably that everything from there until they get to Ennis Lobby. From there, and well, I'll say there, Frank, everything with that, Frankie's backstory, and pretty much them getting on the train, and then whichever whoever that means. Like that could be like Robin, like essentially the reveal of CP9, um, and that whole situation, and then wrap it up with, okay, let's get on this train and then go to and fight these people. That would be a that would be an entire episode in and of itself. Um, yeah, that would be an entire episode in and of itself, and then them getting to the train. Um, uh, I think Luffy and everyone following them on the other train as well. Um, on the other sea train could start off that episode as well. Um, but I think that's what if we're extending. See, that's why I think Crocodile should be those two. Um, I think you can have, like, especially with the Baroque work stuff, you can interweave Crocodile however you want with that. With uh with Water 7 in its lobby, you kind of have to have a solid like 4 episodes for just Water 7 in its lobby, because that's pretty much just what you have to do. It has to be like 4 episodes. So yeah, like I said, if it'd be the initial thing, if that's 10 episodes, they could get there. They could get there, and that could be everything with that. Uh, I think to be fair, I think Water 7 and his lobby could be the some of the longer episodes of the season, if they decide to put it all in season 2. If they only have 8, I think they just try to get as much as they can, end it with Crocodile and Alavast, getting Robin on the crew, and just figure that whole thing out. And if they only have 8 episodes like they had with this season, if they have oh, I haven't even talked about the initial thing, which is before Enies Lobby. Wow. I totally. Okay, so before Enies Lobby, they do meet Aokiji, and that is important. And them meeting Aokiji is important. And this is where I think Little Garden could go. Um, Instead of Foxy. Um, Instead of the Foxy situation, instead of Captain Foxy, because if they have Little Garden there and then Aokiji, that's some major suppressed I don't know how to describe it, but like it's an interesting, it would be very interesting to see that if you know Robin's backstory and you know everything that happens. That situation would definitely, everything that happens with Robin in Water 7, her leaving the crew in Water 7, would be just amplified if you know her backstory. Um, yeah, once you consider her backstory and introducing Aokiji right there, right before Water 7, with the Little Garden and Water 7 situation combined, and then you go into that, which that means that we would have less episode, or maybe that would be combined with the first half of the episode, or like maybe that would be combined with the sort of introduction to Water 7. That whole situation be combined with the introduction to Water 7, and that try to make that into a single episode, and then start the following episode with Usopp and Luffy's fight, which could very well work. Uh, but yeah, like that would be a very interesting situation to happen. Um, and I don't know how that would work with everything that goes on. Um, so, and this is the thing: if it is an 8 episode season like this season, they're only getting through Crocodile. I'm just gonna say it. They can only get through Crocodile. All of Water 7 and Enies Lobby would be saved for season 2 or season 3. I mean, that's just what I expect. Um, if they get 10 episodes, they might be able to squeeze in, or they might be able to get to that. If they have 12 episodes, then okay, yeah, they'll definitely get to get to this. Um, but yeah, if they have 10 episodes, they may get through this. But I'd worry that they kind of condense some of Crocodile stuff. I think they could get some of the high points of Crocodile. I think they could get enough with Crocodile and enough um, with Water 7. And let's get to the next one. Enies Lobby. So Enies Lobby is a very Robin focused. It's really Robin's backstory. Has Robin's backstory attached to it. It's a very, very good arc. This is also has the CP9 group that I mentioned, who attempted to kill Iceberg, who is essentially the mayor of Water 7. So those individuals, there are a couple of characters that I think are too cartoony to be in the live action. A couple of that we get introduced to with Enies Lobby, and I don't remember their names. So let me see. So I think Fukuro, Fukuro, and Kumadori. Um, Fukuro and Kumadori might be a little too cartoony for this situation. Um, Again, I don't know how involved they are, if they're involved later in later situations, but I think they can be completely omitted in a very simple way, and that is to replace them with Bluno. Um, Bluno gets beat up by Luffy early on, and that could also be why maybe he's weaker, and other characters like Frankie and Chopper are able to defeat him, but he's still strong enough for them to for him to overpower them. Um, I think it would be a much more interesting battle than the battles that between Kumadori and Fukuro, um, with Frankie, and everything else can be pretty much played in the same way. I would say, except for the fight between Kaku and Zoro. They're gonna. I hope that they do a little bit more. Uh, I think some of the situations with Kaku's transformation is a little silly. Um, I think that they can just play it like how, because he gets a Zora power. I'm gonna be. I don't know why I'm intentionally being vague about it, but his Zora power. I'll just flat out say it. Um, his Zora power is a giraffe. He can turn into a giraffe. So if he can fight like a giraffe, like if you've seen videos of giraffes fight, that could be really interesting to see in live action with someone against someone like Zoro. This is why I think more than likely uh season 2 will end with Crocodile, and we'll just have an 8 episode season, and it'll end with Crocodile, or end with Crocodile, and then everyone, and then Robin joining the team. I think that's the most likely, just because everything that Water 7 and Innis Lobby is gonna take a ton of money. Like, not only set wise, but CGI, like everything is going to take a lot of finances. So if they want to get to Innis Lobby, oof, I don't know. I don't know if they can make it to Innis Lobby. Um, I think Innis Lobby is a perfect. It would be perfect for season 3, and the season 3 ending, the ending to Innis Lobby, and everything that they do with the Going Merry, the goodbye to the Going Merry, and introducing the Thousand Sunny. That is, as far as I could tell, a great ending for season 2. Plus, you can actually extend the Little Garden storyline with Aokiji situation, and that could be and that could be its own episode, and that could just be one episode, is the Little Garden stuff, and then Aokiji, and then them going to Aokiji's, the island that they find Aokiji in. But yeah, like that would be I think the best way. Like I said, I think and even starting with Skypiea would be a great way to like maybe they could maybe the whole situation where Blackbeard shows up and says about the island in the sky, and that whole situation, since that could be at the end of the Crocodile arc. And they can just skip Jaya and just go straight to Skypiea. And yeah, like I think that would be a great way to do that. And then with Skypiea, I think with Inaru, the whole scene where Don Flamingo kills Bellamy can just be replaced with Inaru. Or Inaru Inel, I don't know which it would be, which would be more, I can't remember what the name that people usually say, what name they refer to him as in the anime. But yeah, for I'm kind of getting off topic with Innis Lobby. But yeah, like the whole Innis Lobby can be, like, with those fights being condensed, You could probably start with the train situation. Um, I don't know if you would have the fight with. I kind of want to keep the at least the fight with at least Frankie's fight on the top of the roof. I don't know if you would still keep Sanji's fight with the noodle guy, but I kind of want to keep at least. But I think that could still work. Um, or they could just skip the whole thing, and just go straight to the head car and where they find in Bluno. Um, it really just depends on how much um, they want to do, and I think uh, with Ennis Lobby, I think the best place to put um, Robin's backstory is with her shouting to her. Yeah, she's like with her shouting to um, the Straw Hats and saying that she wants to be saved, or I believe that's what she says. Um, Something to that effect. But yes, that whole situation. But like I said, with CP9, the two characters that I've eliminated, replace them with Bluno, and everything else can just be played as as it's played normally. Everything just play out normally. I think just removing those two characters and just putting Bluno there, everything could just be played out normally. Um, I still would like to see, um, but yeah, and I think that would just work. Uh, Now, I say everything be played out normally. I don't know if uh, what's her name? Uh, um, I don't know if I have no idea why. I have no idea why this is. Um, Kokoro. Wow, not sure why that. Um, I don't know if Kokoro would be another extra character that might be cut. Um, I think the backstory with Frankie could work without her. Um, that's honestly just one of the things that I'm like, I'm not sure if that character is necessary. Um, yeah, and I'm just it seems like that character can be removed. I don't know. Um, I don't know. The only thing is at the very end when they get uh I think you can just replace that and have Frankie rescue the um rescue whoever has the devil fruits, um the devil fruit power, or the devil fruit users, um and him carry them off, or carry them above, carry them onto the going merry. um but yeah, I think that's pretty much. But yeah, I think that's probably um how they'd have to play that, because Granny Kokoro, I don't know if she's important enough, as sad as it is to say. I don't know that she's really important enough to keep as a character, um, in this arc. I think if you're gonna cut out characters, that's a character that you might need to cut down, and then just have Frankie be the one to show them where the other train is, and just have Frankie do all that situation. Um, Honestly, that just seems like the better answer for Frankie doing all the stuff that Granny Kokoro was doing. Um, that just seems like the better answer for how to, um, for everything that you can do with that, can just be like that can just be how that story plays out. I don't think she's as necessary um, as other characters like Iceberg or something like that. And especially even in the backstory, she's not super necessary. I've already not talked about Yokozuna as well. A lot of it just feels like extra stuff. Similar to where similar to the other two CP9 characters. Um, I do think they should keep uh, when it comes to CP9. I do think they should keep. I do think they should keep. Um, Jabra. I do think Jabra should continue to be there. I think he's a character that can um, allow for Sanji to actually do something in that arc. As kind of rude as that sounds, uh, yeah, he kind of works for uh, Sanji to be able to um, have a big moment in that arc. And um, the also with the train, I didn't even mention this. This is where Sniper King comes to play, and that is Usopp's identity, or secret identity. Um, because after his fight with Luffy, he couldn't show his face, so Sniper King, essentially anything that he happens on in his lobby is done. Usopp does it as Sniper King. So even in in his wanted poster, he's known as Sniper King, or Saba King, I believe, is the Japanese. Sniper King is the English dub version. I don't know if they'll change that, or if they'll go say Saba King, or if they'll yeah, I don't know if they'll keep the original Japanese or if they'll go with the English dub version, which was Sniper King. Um, uh, I don't know how that would work. Um, or I mean, I don't know like this, and this is where like I do think they should absolutely keep Sniper King in there, but I think this is where I would say this is why Kaya, when at the end of the story they kind of like flash back to, this is why this is a perfect ending for a season, is because at the very end they flash back to a bunch of different characters, like pretty much everybody's character, or everybody's like home village, I guess. They kind of flash back to basically where everybody started, and they've got uh, so I think Syrup Village. This is where the kids can be introduced into Syrup Village, and instead of being uh, essentially friends with Usopp and hanging out with Usopp, which would be weird considering he'd be a grown man hanging out with kids. The kids can actually be inspired by Usopp, through the wand posters and everything like that. And it could be a really kind of sweet scene. And it'd also have Kaya wouldn't be alone, and she'd basically tell all of Usopp's stories to these children. And I think that would be a very good way of introducing the kids, that were omitted originally, and also fixing the issue of Kaya being all alone. Um, and I think this would be a great way of making of kind of like everything coming full circle in that storyline, where it's like now she is the storyteller telling the stories that Usopp told her, and that'd be a really cute way of kind of uh, ending that sort of ending that storyline, ending that with her. Wow, I'm getting all worked up talking about this, and I haven't even gotten to the casting. I think I can rapid fire through the casting choices, but next is going to be Thriller Bark, which, let me see. I'm going to shrink this down. Nope. Oh, guess I'm not. Okay. So this would definitely be, again, if Crocodile is the end of season 2, which I suspect it will be, um, then this will be the beginning of season 4, essentially, um, which would probably go all the way until Marineford. Um, but yeah, I think this would be a great way of uh, this is where I think, um, yeah, and I mean, this is where I'm kind of like a little bit more, like I said, the last one I really liked, Water 7 and its lobby, um, and I think that deserves like 4 episodes. I think you can only do it with 4 episodes. Like you have to have at least 4 episodes to do in its lobby, and I think you can't do it otherwise. You can't do all of the scenes. Um, like everything that happens, just it would need to happen that way. The only thing I think is like maybe the Straw Hats don't break Frankie House, but then Frankie doesn't really have a grudge against them, so it kind of everything has to fit in that one. There's a couple of major scenes that I think that they could omit, but um, like there's like even the, but I mean, again, there's I think like a lot of the big moments need to happen in that situation. Um, I also think going back to uh, Innis Lobby, um, if any of the, I think the only person from Galley Law that should come to Innis Lobby is Polly, because Polly and I think Polly needs to, if like that's one of the things I was gonna say is that could be another thing that they eliminate is all of the Frankie family coming with everybody or coming with the Straw Hats to Innis Lobby. Um, Maybe you could have a few. Like I think there's some legitimate reasons for um, why you could have certain characters come, like Kiwi and Bonsweet. I can't remember what her name is, but the Frankie sisters, as well uh, like I said, from Galley Law, Polly. Maybe not everybody from Galley Law, and honestly, as tragic as it may sound, the other two members from Galley Law might end up being dead at that point. They might end up having to kill those guys. But I think that's where the Giants can come in, which again would be a legitimate reason for why Little Garden exists in that season. Another legitimate reason for why uh, Little Garden would exist in that reason. I'm getting off topic, and I will get to Thriller Bark, but yeah, that would be another legitimate. And I think one way that Polly could have a big moment in that episode or in that part would be saving the two giants and actually like physically holding them up from stopping them from going into like from falling into the water and drowning or whatever. Um, but him pulling the giants to safety would be a crazy like it would be a crazy um one feat of strength, and it would be just a really good moment for him. um like I think it could like there is another moment that's kind of similar, but it's also kind of like it's kind of undercut by the fact that it's half of a joke. It's partially a joke. And that's literally all the Frankie family being like lined up on the side of the cliff and stuff. And it's like it's so visually I think that's the thing. Something like him a feat of strength where he pulls the giants to safety could be a better way of could be a better way of having him giving Polly a sort of highlight moment. And I think that would be something that I would love to see from him, especially after he's lost so much with everything that goes down in Water 7 once CP9 attacks. And especially if you take away those two, the like I said, especially if you take away um, the other two Galley Law members. But Now let's get back on topic to Thriller Bark. It's pretty straightforward. I think everything that happens here can just kind of be condensed down to one episode. The whole Kuma situation and wrapping up with wrapping everything up with Brooke and Brooke's backstory, which is just, whew, uh, that would be a sad, and that would be a very dramatic moment. Um, and it's, man, seeing that in live action would be, just tugging on heartstrings. But yeah, like I think everything that happens on Thriller Bark could just be kind of one episode, and then the wrap up, like Kuma being there, and then uh, the whole situation with and like I said with uh, um, yeah, Kuma being there, Brooke going into his backstory and officially joining the crew. Um, and I think that that's pretty straightforward with where this would be. Um, I think some of the overly like over the top stuff with like obviously right here Nightmare Luffy. I do think Nightmare Luffy should be there, but maybe he fights. I don't know. I don't know how it would work. Maybe that's just how Oars gets defeated, and we don't have the whole everybody trying to work together to fight Oars, which is ultimately kind of not working. It ultimately doesn't really work. I don't know. Um, I feel like a lot of characters could end up not really being uh, effective. I think Frankie building the bridge would be is I mean that's a scene that he uh, could shine in a different way than honestly just being a robot or cyborg. Sorry, but yeah, I think yeah, just rather than fighting, he contribute these the characters contribute in other areas like Usopp has some major moments to shine in this one. Um, I think him and Perona is just such a that whole scenario. Obviously, Zoro fights Zoro the whole Zoro arc, but I mean, there's some other. Zoro has a whole bunch of or has a whole yeah, Zoro does a lot this in this arc. Um, Zoro, Usopp. The thing is like some characters like Chopper, uh, Robin, Frankie. They may not do much, but they just need to contribute a little bit and to the story. Sanji as well. Um, although Sanji does contribute quite a bit with particularly with um, the fight with God, I can't even remember his name. Uh, all Anselm, Anselm. I don't remember. But yeah, who the I think he could that whole scenario. Um, but I mean, yeah, like I said, some characters are gonna have to be delegated to the background, and unfortunately, Frankie, Robin, and Chopper might be it. And it sucks because Chopper is really like Chopper gets the short end of the stick a lot. Um, and maybe this is where maybe you can throw in. Maybe you could throw in Foxy either before or after this arc. Maybe after, honestly, because we don't get a lot of time with Brooke before a lot of stuff happens. So yeah, if Chopper, maybe that would be a very, maybe that would be a thing to be like, we could put that in this episode or in this season. Like that can Foxy can kind of just go anywhere. Like he doesn't need to be like he could just go and yeah, like it's just like, oh, we just added Brooke. Oh, we just yeah, just add these different characters. Um yeah. So I think that would be a perfectly fine way to kind of solve Chopper not getting to do a whole lot in particularly in this arc, is just have um but yeah, really in a lot of arcs, Chopper doesn't really get to do a lot. But yeah, I think by having a situation with like, and yeah, especially if you have like the whole Kuma thing, something lighthearted like uh something lighthearted at the end of after the Kuma thing, like something as lighthearted as uh the Foxy Pirates could be a great like palette cleanser, especially if they make Thriller Bark a lot darker, which I think they should. I think they should make especially the palette cleanser of that and Brooke's whole backstory. It'd be a nice like sigh of relief. Be like, okay, and now we can get back to some silly stuff, or we can get some silly stuff, especially because and especially with later on, there's going to be a lot more serious stuff. Um, and right now we'll just cut straight to it. Uh, the Sabaody Archipelago. Um, this, I think there are definitely some people on the island. Even if you just look in this image, I like this image because I can actually look at who all is there with that high dollar bounty. Um, I think I don't know enough about like where everybody is, like what everybody has to do after, but I think you can pretty much condense it down to just Captain Kidd, um, Law, Trafalgar Law, Bonnie, not Jewelry Bonnie, Hawkins, Killer, who is Kidd's like number two, I guess, um, and then maybe one of these three. Um, but yeah, like you can eliminate like it just depends. I feel like some of these characters can be a bit much. And obviously I think Capone is like it's just Capone. Like I don't know if he's going to serve a purpose later on or if he's going to just be kind of an empty character. Um and same with these three. If they're not going to really contribute, I think Erogi might be him and Hawkins might be a good way to just show Kizaru's strength, um, and that could be their purpose. Um, but aside from that, I don't know if they need to be exist beyond that. And with these two characters, um, like he could still be on the island, but not necessarily like he could still be introduced. Like, yeah, I just don't know if all of these characters need to be in the show in the live action version. I think, um, I think there's certain. I think really it can be pretty much just condensed: kid, law, killer, um, Bonnie, Hawkins, and you could probably, honestly, the other four don't even need to be there at that time. They can just not be in at Sabayoti at that time. They can come if they really need to be there for later arcs, they can come in those later arcs. They don't necessarily need to be introduced at that point unless unless certain characters escaping from Kizaru is an important plot line. In which case, the only character that I would say that would the only other character that would need to be there would be him. I don't remember what his name is, but yeah, he would be the only character that would play a role uh, in doing that. Um, or for just plot reasons, he would be the only reason to. He would be the only one that would need to be there at that point in time. But yeah, this is a pretty short arc. Um, it's pretty much. Honestly, I think this can lead into the next arc, which is Amazon. Whoops, no, Amazon Lily. Uh, got a little ahead of myself there, but that can lead into Amazon Lily, and then of course, after Amazon Lily, we get to. Uh, let me just. Then after Amazon Lily, we get to. Um, After Amazon Lily, we get to Impel Down. And Impel Down, I could see it being condensed to one. Uh, I could see it being condensed to one episode. So let's sort of recap. We had Thriller Bark in this particular season. Thriller Bark, Sabayoti, Sabayoti, and Sabayoti and um, yeah, this could real Impel Down could really be like 2 or 3 episodes actually, if they wanted. Probably two. It could be 2 episodes. But Sabayoti, um, or Thriller Bark uh, Thriller Bark and Brooke's backstory, and then Sabayoti. Which, if they really need to stretch Sabayoti, they can. Sabayoti can be 1 episode, and then the next one, Amazon Lily, could be another episode. That's 4. Um, then we get Impel Down for 2, getting us to 7, and then really, I don't really have anything to say about Impel Down. Um, I think it can just be played as it is. I think it's a pretty straightforward arc. Certain character you might be able to get by without certain characters, um, but for the most part, I think um, it's just a good heist, essentially a good heist storyline. And then, of course, and now I have to put this up here. Of course, we get to Marineford. I hate that I'm covering the best character. Oh, whoops. I will, for the time being, move down here. I wish I could crop that top. That sounds weird. I didn't mean for it, but yeah. So, yeah, this one, I have yet. I'm going to be honest. I've yet to see Marineford, so I don't know how many. I know some of the major events that happen in it, but yeah, I think that this could be a. Yeah, what did I say? Like we had. This is after Thriller Bark, so Thriller Bark, and then the Kuma stuff, and that if they need an extra one, they can throw in. If they need an extra story, they can throw in Foxy. But that could even be like one episode if they want to really do. If they really need to stretch, but yeah, Foxy. If we include Foxy, that'd be three. 4 would be Archipelago Sabaody. 5 would be Amazon Lily. Impel Down. If it's still 6, then obviously Foxy goes. And then we've got what Sabaody, Amazon Lily, maybe combined into one. Uh, Thriller Bark, Thriller Bark, Thriller Bark, Kuma stuff. Um, uh, yeah, Kuma stuff and Brooks' backstory. Um, Sabaody. I'd say Sabaody would be one episode, and then Amazon Lily and intro to Impel Down, probably. That's probably where that would be. Amazon Lily and intro to Impel Down. Now maybe you could also maybe instead of intro to Impel Down, if you needed to stretch, you could put you could put where the others are, where the others landed, and that could be sort of 4, and 5 could be Impel Down, 6 could be 5 and 6 could be Impel Down, 7 and 8 could be Marineford, or whatever combination. Yeah, I think this would essentially be one season. So essentially, the way I think it should be is if there's 8 episodes a season, they need to just focus on then we'll hit Marineford the end of Marineford by season 4. Season 2 will be Crocodile, just all Crocodile, and Alabast being the end. I think that's probably where the most likely. Season 3 will be Impel Down, or not. What am I thinking? Water 7 to or wow. Uh, Season 3 would be water would be Skypiea, Water 7. I'd also throw in Little Garden as that intro to right before meeting Aokiji. I think that would be a really interesting combination. I think that would be where I would want to see Little Garden. I think that's the perfect place to have Little Garden, honestly. Is in that particular. I think that would actually enhance the story better than having Little Garden in the second season. I personally think that's where they should put Little Garden. Um, but yeah, after that, Water Seven, Innis Lobby. Um, that's season three, and then season four, everything from Thriller Bark to Marineford. Um, and anything after that, I don't know because I still haven't seen Marineford. But yeah, I think that's probably so we'll be able to get through. We'll be able to get to the 2 year time skip. The 2 year time skip will be season five essentially. So we'll have. I think that's likely, unless they announce that season two is going to have like 12 episodes. Then I'm like, oh crap, that might be. They might get through Water Seven, or they might get through in this lobby by season two if that's the case. But yeah, we'll see how many episodes season two is going to have. If it's going to have 8, then probably just be Crocodile. Um, as far as the ending goes. Um, but now that we're done with that, we can get to um, casting and ooh, let's see. Nope. Uh, all right. All right. Let's get to casting. Now that okay, this works better. Okay. So, I think cuz I spent a lot of time of just where I think they'll get to in the first 4 seasons, as far as like how laying out the uh, storyline of where I think the story will go. I'm just kind of going to go through quick over who I think should play certain characters. And right now, I've got Smoker on the screen. Um, and honestly, for this one, Scott Eastwood. I think. That's a. I need to. Sorry, I'm shrinking that. But Scott Eastwood, he's literally Clint Eastwood's son, and I don't think I need to give any other reasoning than that. Um, I mean, he's like the spitting image of Clint Eastwood. Vivi is going to be the next character on. I'm going to center her a bit. But yeah, she's going to be the next character on the docket for casting. And honestly, Maya Hawke. And no, I'm not just going to go through and have character or have actors that are daughters of or daughters and sons of other famous celebrities, even though it just happened that these two characters or these two actors happen to be that. But yeah, she is. She would. I think she would be a more interesting as Vivi because I think she's too young, and this is a character of her as her character named Robin. Weirdly enough, um, but yeah, from Stranger Things, and just the energy she brings to that character, I think makes for some fun. I think she could be fun as Vivi, um, and that's really the only reason is she's just very fun. She brings a lot of fun energy to Stranger Things, which can sometimes get a little moody. So yeah, I think she'd be great as Vivi. Tony Chopper. Now, if I'm being completely honest, I don't know who should play Chopper. Um, I think Chopper should be played by a kid, honestly. And I don't know too many kid actors. um, Especially none that are that young. Maybe the dude that was in Sweet Tooth. I don't know. I don't know how old that show is. Maybe the kid that was in what was the thing that was just came out with Jason Momoa on Netflix. I don't know, but either way, I think honestly for Chopper, if you do cast a child, you kind of have to cast someone who's like 7 or 8, because then you can kind of have the 2 year gap be okay. That be a little bit more manageable, as far as whether or not what the voice would sound like, and that can be a little bit more manageable. Maybe you introduce Chopper a little bit later or something like that. But yeah, but if you want to just do as a voice, if you're just doing it based off of the voice and based off of that, or go the full um, anime route and just do a a female actor, a female voice actor doing the voice. Um, if that's the route, then I would say Kate Mikuchi. Um, she's kind of got that voice that works really well for it, and that's I mean, uh, there might be other voice actors too. This one, I like I said, I would prefer that they just go the kid route and just kind of he just age into the role essentially, and they just have to deal with okay, how is Chopper going to be whenever the actor is now in his teens or so, and just kind of do it that way. But if they're just gonna do voice then I think her voice would work really well. It's kind of got a bit of a cartoony type sound to it, and I think uh, it's very recognizable too. So don't know if that's again. Some of these aren't exactly. I give this is why I'm giving reasons to why. Like some of these I'd be okay with, like because this is like a perfect cast essentially, or at least maybe not perfect, but like uh, what I expect or what I would if I had like unlimited money, unlimited this. This is who would be the cast. And now, speaking of unlimited money and unlimited access to uh, or unlimited access to celebrity, Walpole. Um, and if I were to cast Walpole, I would cast Jack Black. And let's just be real, he would be amazing. He would just be amazing for Walpole. Uh, I would give like maybe because it's Netflix, small pin in that, more affordable potentially. Kevin James, possibly a more affordable option, and possibly even more affordable than that. I would say Matt Berry from what we I think of him as from What We Do in the Shadows, as Laszlo. Yeah, but obviously, I wanted to give three picks just because, like, obviously it's not gonna be like I think that those three. Honestly, I think Matt Berry over. I would pick Matt Berry over Kevin James, but just had to say the Kevin James thing because of Netflix. But yeah, Jack Black is obvious first choice for Walpole. Next is Crocodile, and again, remember that this is unlimited monies if and a ideal cast Idris Elba. Um, so yeah, this is not gonna happen. I know it's not gonna happen. I'm okay that it's not gonna happen, but it would be cool if it did. Yeah, I know he's probably way out of the price range for the One Piece crew, but he'd be an interesting choice for it. I would not be. I would dig. I think it would be awesome. I would love to see what he does with that character. But again, that's like ultra high profile celebrity. Not probably not going to happen. I and like I said, Kureha is probably going to be played by Jamie Lee Curtis, and I feel like that's your celebrity get right there. If the fact that they can get that is if the fact that they could pull that off is amazing. But now let's just get back to it, and let's go with Ace. Hold on. So let's just go with Ace. Uh, yeah, I probably need to rapid fire a lot of these. So, Ace. I think this is a lot of this is based on who the actor playing Luffy is. So because of that, Zolo Mariduena. Uh, I don't know if I pronounced that right, but he's uh, he's Cobra Kai. He's Blue Beetle. I think he's way too busy right now to play Ace, honestly. And this is one that I'd be okay if he wasn't. But it'd be cool if he was. It'd be cool if he could be Ace, but I'd be okay, and I wouldn't be heartbroken if it's not the case. And that's going to be essentially the way a lot of these castings are going to go. And now Nico Robin. Now there's a couple ways they could go. They could just go because I think originally Oda said that they're supposed to be Russian, but that doesn't really give a ethnicity or any kind of anything like that. So, and I don't know if this would probably be a little too offensive, but if because of the multiple arm thing, I don't know how they would do this without being offensive. So I don't know if they could cast an Indian actress, Indian as in India. But again, I don't know if that would come across as blasphemous, so might just be safer not to try that. But that kind of like for some reason just that always stuck in my mind, the multiple arms, that and kind of I've always just connected that with sort of like a Vishnu reference. even though I don't think that was the intention. I don't know if that was the intention or not, but uh, I think there's a lot of routes they could go. If they go the route where it's uh, like quote unquote Russian, and just go with a Caucasian actor, I think uh, they should probably go British. I think that would kind of be a little bit more. I think just allowing a British actor to be British would be, uh, and I think it would kind of work with her personality as well. But instead, like I said, going off that first th- uh, um, going off the first thing I said, uh, this is Claudia Doumit. I don't know how to pronounce that. I'm assuming Domé, but I could be completely wrong. But she plays in The Boys. She plays a similarly kind of enigmatic character where you're not really sure what, like, at any point in time she could be a good character, she could be a nice person, she kind of has that sort of mysterious type quality to her that I think could really work, especially with Ines Lobby. um but ultimately in The Boys, she turns, at least in the most, as of now, she's kind of on a sort of, I don't know. I don't want to spoil it for anyone that doesn't watch that show. So, um, just say that there's a bit of mystery to that character. That and I think that she can play a character that has a bit of mystery to her in Robin, in Nico Robin. But I don't know. Again, it all depends on what they decide, and this, I wouldn't be heartbroken if they don't choose her. Um, and now let's go to Bon Clay. Uh, so Bon Clay, major major moments in Impel Down, major moments and introduced um in Alabasta. But again, I don't know. This is probably not the best choice. But this is like the only actor that is kind of has. I mean, I've seen them in. Okay, I'm just gonna say it. At Mason Alexander Park. Uh, they were in. Um, they played Desire in The Sandman. Um, and I don't know what their capabilities would be of going super silly with Bon Clay, but if they could pull it off, maybe. But that, again, I've only seen them in a more serious role, so I don't know if they would be good for somewhat a more comedic role, so I just don't know if that would work. Maybe a comedian would be better, but I don't know. Yeah, again, like I said, with a lot of these, I wouldn't be heartbroken if these picks aren't chosen, except for maybe this one. Okay. Um, this is Enel Inaru. I don't know what you would prefer. What what he goes by, but he's the big bad in Skypiea. Chase Crawford. He plays the Deep in The Boys, and I think he would be perfect for Inaru. Because he just has like this, like, he would be really fun as Inaru. He would have a very interesting presence to display. So yeah, I mean, I think this would be like, I just look at his character at this point in time. I love the shaved head. It would work really. I don't know. I think just as soon as I see the shaved head, and then it's like thinking about Anel, whatever. But okay, let's go next to Frankie. Joins the Straw Hats. I think this is, aside from Robin, the only one that we've come across. Oh, we said Vivi. What am I talking about? But yeah, Frankie. Personally, I think this has probably, this actor might have already been cast, because he was just showed up because and this is who I would have picked if this is true that they have cast them. This is who I would have picked as Frankie. Jacob Bertrand as who was Hawk in Cobra Kai. Let me zoom in one more time. Okay, yeah. So, I mean, look at the hair. Do I really need to say anything else? But I think one thing that is really cool about him is he could capture the goofiness and the tough guy persona that Frankie kind of has. Like, so I think he would be a really good fit for Frankie. And he's already visited the crew, the cast and crew of One Piece. I think it was part of cross promotional for kind of One Piece into Cobra Kai, because Cobra Kai is coming out soon too. The last season of Cobra Kai, which is one of the reasons why this is which is one of the reasons why this is why I would suggest him for Frankie. I think, like I said, he could just capture the goofiness and the tough guy persona of Frankie in a way that would be, I don't know. I think that the only potential downside would be age. Um, I think he seems a bit young for Frankie, but he, like, again, if what's if it's true, if what, like, how I've laid out everything is true, then he's got a year. Like, he's got yeah, the next season should just be Crocodile. So he wouldn't show up till a year after that. So he could really buff, get bigger, and really, if he was working there, would. Uh, I mean, he's already got like the muscle tone, but he would just need to kind of bulk a little bit. And even then, I don't think he really needs to bulk, especially for early Frankie. I don't think he really needs to bulk up all that much. But yeah, I think he, like I said, he just visited the cast and crew, and he seemed to really hit it off with them. So why not have him join as a Straw Hat pirate? And Frankie seems to be the best choice for it. Um, Due to this, just how, like I said, just tough guy, can also be super silly at times. Um, I think it'd just be a really good. I think he'd be a great choice for Frankie. Iceberg, on the other hand, and this one, I immediately, as soon as I saw him, this is who I thought. And unfortunately, this might be a little weird uh, because of how young Frankie would seem, but I would choose Tom Ellis um, as Iceberg. Uh, so he plays Lucifer in Lucifer. Um, and yeah, he's just a very charismatic dude. And he's definitely somebody who you could see, yeah, this dude's a mayor. This dude's the mayor of this city. Um, and yeah, he'd be he's very charismatic, uh, very fun, but also has a bit of goofiness to him that it's like, that like, and this is a rat I found, and like he could just totally play that off normally, and I think he would be amazing. Um, that was just honestly, as soon as I saw Iceberg, I was like, Tom Ellis for live action, and honestly, I still believe it. I still think that that would be pretty dang cool. I don't know why I said dang, like I'm trying to not curse or something, but you know what? Uh, I'm getting, I don't think I've really cursed at all, so um, I'll just uh, continue to not curse so I can not necessarily be. Um, I don't know why I'm not going to name this thing as specifically for yeah, geared toward children or anything like that. But anyway, Rob Lucci. Um, this is for kind of or Water Seven, Innis Lobby, kind of in that. Uh, honestly, I don't really have an actor in mind for Rob Lucci, and the one I picked, I'm not even confident about. Um, I think that if they can find a good enough actor, if they can find an actor that's good enough to play Rob Lucci, um, I will be happy just seeing how they transform this person to life. It could just be somebody I've never heard of, and you know, I'd be fine with that. I think that that would be ideal, but for just because I wanted, this is more of, like I said, this is more of a placeholder. Tanner Buchanan. He plays. Uh, I know I'm gonna have a lot of Cobra Kai and Cobra Kai and The Boys actors in here, but yeah. Um, again, not very confident in this pick for Rob Lucci, but yeah, I mean, I I I, I don't really know who would be a good Rob Lucci. I just like, it's such a hard character to pin down that I'm not sure how uh what kind of actor would, or what actor would be best for him. I mean, like the eyebrows just alone is just, somebody that could have those eyebrows is crazy. Uh anyway, let's move on. Spondum. Um so if you've seen the dub, you'll know why specifically I chose this person. But, and if this doesn't work out, I could also see this person playing the father of Spondum, who does play a role, but Mark Hamill. if you've seen the dub, you know. If you've seen the American dub, you know why. You know why. Um, but yeah. So that's just yeah. I think he would just be very interesting in that role. um, but yeah, like I said, it could be either Spondum or his father that also shows up in uh in in that arc as well, or at least shows up is mentioned in that uh arc and shown in a flashback. But yeah, I mean, it's you know why. If you've if you've heard the uh if you've watched the anime, you know why. And let's go with Brooke. Uh so this is I think okay, we're starting to get a little bit closer to the end with Brooke. But Brooke, another Straw Hat um, that joins the crew. Uh, and you know, I can't imagine anyone better than Weird Al Yankovic. I think, wow, that is just Weird Al like full send in the middle of that, in the middle of that image, uh, just his face and nothing, just but his face. Uh, but yeah, like I think he could be. He's super comedic for. He could work off that whole comedic angle of Brooke. I think it could also be interesting to see. Um, was he in Coco? I'm just looking at the background from this. He looks like I'm just looking. Yeah, like that's from Coco. Okay, okay. I need to watch Coco. Um, uh, but yeah, like I think he would be very much yeah, if not him, then someone that is like if we're just talking voice alone, yes, absolutely. Um, but voice combined with the hair and just design it out off of Weird Al, yeah, like that would be amazing. Um, I think you could also have another actor be like the body and the physical person there, while Weird Al does the voice um, for him. Yeah, because he doesn't necessarily need to be. I think he should be on set, but if he were, but he wouldn't necessarily need to be, and he could just be voice for uh, voiceover in that regard. But you know, I'd love to. I think he would be he could capture the comedic side of Brooke, and as well as the uh, I mean, just being a lovable guy. I think that he would be good. He's really just would be perfect for Brooke. Um, I don't know how doable that would be, but yeah, I'd love to see it. Um, Perona, and I know we're getting this one. She's not really a major character, but I can't remember if she kind of hangs out with Straw Hats, I believe, for a little bit. Um, at least from my impressions, she does hang out a little bit more with the Straw Hats later on. So, kind of. So, yeah, Perona. She is on Thriller Bark. Um, don't know really when it comes to actors. This one just first came to mind. Jenna Ortega. Um, is that because she's playing Wednesday right now? Probably, but I think she would do an amazing job as Perona as well. Um, I think she would just like that very like gothic style beauty type uh situation. I don't know. This sounds weird, so I'll just move on. Gecko Moria, the pretty much the villain of Thriller Bark. Um, I don't know if they. I could find. I couldn't really think of somebody that physically has this shape, just because I don't think it exists in reality. Um, but I do think there could be a really good if they decide to go dark with like darker with him and less silly. I think he could still be kind of silly, but he could be kind of a much more intimidating character if you cast Bill Skarsgård as um as him as Gecko Moria. He would be crazy good, and you could actually be have Thriller Bark, which is kind of a horror inspired story, be super creepy, and with someone like Bill Skarsgård doing the uh being the main villain. Oh yeah, he would be. It would be very creepy. For like they could make Thriller Bark terrifying, and I think that would be a lot of fun. Like I don't know if like I don't know how much of Thriller Bark you can really make super terrifying because it is just the story. A lot of the story is so silly, but if you cast like maybe that's just maybe some of the other characters are silly while uh while you have someone like Gecko Moria be actually intimidating and actually scary, like super scary and super uh intimidating. um it would also make him more it would also make it more believable that he's um a warlord of the sea if he was played by if he was actually that intimidating. Anyway, speaking of warlords of the sea, here's Kuma. Uh, and I'm gonna be honest when it comes to One Piece. I didn't really get into One Piece till the live action trailer or live action stuff came out, and then I wanted to look up. I was like, you know what? I should go back and see and watch some One Piece. So that's what I did. I kind of didn't really go back and watch, but I went through because I think I was like I kind of skipped everything. I'm like, okay, I started basically after Skypiea, and then I went through and just been like, okay, I'll watch from here on, and I've gotten all the way to I just finished Impel Down not too long ago. I mean the whole thing I basically just binged, but yeah, so that's where I'm at as a One Piece fan, but I did watch as a kid the 4 Kids version, which again, take it or leave it. It existed. Um, it had an amazing song though, by the way. Um, the the yeah. So anyway, back to everything. Kuma. Um, I think just on physical body, like somebody who could be just this intimidating, this massive, and this just have this much of a physical presence. Jason Momoa would be essentially my pick for Kuma. I know it kind of throws off the whole big man and a kind of soft voice because he doesn't have that. Yeah, and he does actually have the eyebrows of of what was it that I couldn't figure out, but he does actually have eyebrows like um uh Rob Lucci. He has those eyebrows, but again, I feel like he would be better suited for Kuma because just of the physical presence. He's just somebody that's like when he shows up, you'd be like, "Oh damn! Oh, I swore. Uh-oh." But anyway, yeah, he would just be like, "Oh, this guy's here. Something big's going down." And then okay, now I'm going to Sabayoti with Trafalgar Law. This is the only real person from Sabayoti that I picked, just because I know I'm pretty sure he does a lot more with Straw Hats, if not joins them. Uh, but Trafalgar Law, I think, could be like as soon as I saw this, I'm like, there's an actor that I would love to see more of, especially in these live action adaptations, because he's a fan of anime. I think I've seen him in projects in like he's been in a fan anime project about My Hero Academia, and that is Cleo Thomas. Um, nah, let's do this. Right. Yeah. But yeah. So he was in a My Hero Academia like fan film, really. But he's also, if you don't know who he is, just in general, he played Zero in Holes, way back when, the Shia LaBeouf movie. Yeah, and but yeah, he'd be really. He's someone that like I said, he's a fan of anime. He and I think he would be really cool as Law. I think he'd be a really cool cast for that. And this is one that I would oh, for Trafalgar Law, I think this is for I'm just kind of like looking at the future of One Piece. Thank you, Shadowmon Arch Arch Big Blue. Wow, some of those don't some of those words just kind of strung together there. Um, but yeah, I've kind of gotten uh, I'm gonna put this up on a YouTube as well. So if you didn't see the whole thing, yeah, you can go back and check it out. But yeah, like I think he would be good for Trafalgar Law. Um, in yeah. Oh, you don't. Hmm. Okay. Um. Yeah, I think it's definitely I don't know. Um, it might just be because I see the hat and that image has kind of his hair kind of puffed out like this hat. But I don't know. I think it'd be uh, it's a different cast, so I don't know. I'd be I think he might again. I think this might be an issue where maybe the age issue might be a thing because he's kind of older, and maybe that he's kind of older than most of the cast, so maybe he'd be better for a different cast. But that's the pick that I've chosen. So I think next we'll go with Boa Hancock, and again, this is not like, and for a lot of these, I don't have a specific like. This is another one where earlier I kind of mentioned that some of these are kind of like I just really don't have a person in mind, and I would kind of prefer that they go with a uh, unknown and just kind of go with, and really with Boa Hancock, I think like if you just have a like supermodel essentially, um, uh, that would pretty much just be the checklist for that. Um, Mostly unknown is what I would go with for Boa Hancock, and just as a placeholder because this is obviously never going to happen, I put Gal Gadot. Um, Obviously, just a placeholder, not a serious pick, and I know it would be impossible. So I'm just gonna go on to Ivankov. Yeah, so the age. Yeah. So yeah, like with yeah, I think she would probably have a Chinese actress or Asian descent, especially just with the origin. I just threw random one out threw random actress at the time, or like actress that's big in the moment now, I guess. But I think with um, yeah, but I think yeah, like I said, it'd probably be an unknown, probably be supermodel type. Ivankov. This one's tough initially because just because of the obvious. One thing that stood out, I immediately said like RuPaul, but then I looked up RuPaul and he's like 7 or like he's like 60 almost. So I think that's a little bit too much. But a character that I do think, if you haven't seen Doom Patrol, I would recommend it very highly. And there's a character called uh, I forget what the character is called, but this is the actor that plays that character, um, Alan Mingo Jr. Um, I again, it's the character. This is basically just my limited knowledge of this subject. So of like drag actors and stuff like that. So take that for what it's worth. But I think he does an amazing job in this role. I'm still blanking on the name, but it was in like I said, it's in Doom Patrol, and the character is just. I think this is actually not him in Doom Patrol, but in a different. This might be him in a different show, but either way, Alan Mingo Jr. is actor. And then for Magellan, this is gonna be a weird one, and Magellan's a weird guy, and I could totally understand not. I again, actors being in the big name actors probably not going to show up, but just because he's so weird, I think the two characters are kind of weird. Like the character and the actor are kind of weird. So I don't know if this would work, but Adam Driver's who I picked for Magellan, and this is obviously probably not going to happen. But I don't know. He's just a weird looking dude for me, and I think Magellan's just always stood out as a weird looking dude in One Piece. So that's just why I chose this one. Aokiji and the generals. I don't know. When I think some of these I don't I'm not 100% confident in, but for this one I think uh, uh, with Aokiji, I haven't actually seen the Fast and Furious movies, but Ludacris. Is that also just because when I think of Ludacris, I think of the initial album, like his early release days where he had basically that same hairstyle, possibly, possibly. But yeah, that's I don't know if he could be as intimidating because I don't know his full range in the Fast and Furious movies because I don't watch those. But I don't know. I think I might have just been influenced by that early, like his early 2000s album art where he just got that weird hairstyle. Kizaru. This is one I'm not fully confident in, and I'm okay if this doesn't get the pick. Uh, I saw like jokingly that there was a like fan cast, and this might just be because of Netflix, but there was a fan cast that was Adam Sandler as Kizaru, and that got stuck in my head. But I pulled through and actually cast an actor, although this would be a very different version of Kizaru for the live action. But again, Jason Statham. Yeah. As far as like with Ludacris, I think Ludacris probably is too small for Kizaru, honestly. Um, and also like, or not Kizaru, Aokiji. Now I'm on Kizaru. I don't know about Jason Statham being Kizaru. He'd look weird with a wig. I just don't see it. I this is even me who's put this cast together saying I don't see it, and I would probably there's probably a better option out there, but I just don't know it yet, and I'd be delighted to see it when it comes out. But and this part could just be being influenced by uh, whatever is in the zeitgeist right now, and right now I think the Expendables is in the zeitgeist. So not sure not sure how that works. Uh, but yeah, that's not sure if that's been influenced. Now Jimbei, um, I know that there's been some fan cast, and I know that officially Oda said uh, that um, he's an Indian, he or like that he like nationality wise, he'd be Indian. Um, I've seen some other fan casts, and maybe those would be better. I just don't know enough about those actors or anything like, or the actors in. I don't know enough Indian actors, and I don't know uh, some other actors that have been put forth as possibly for Jinbei. But I think someone that I think that could be good, Cooper Andrews, as Jinbei. I know it's not like the same uh, as what I would say for. It's not an Indian, like he's not Indian, and that's kind of what Oda says that it would be, and it's probably not going to happen. But I don't know. I think Cooper Andrews, he has a he could be. I don't know. I haven't, truth be told, haven't actually uh, gone through. Um, don't really know all of Jinbei's character quirks and everything like that. Um, I've only just gotten done with Impel Down, so not 100% sure if this would be a good cast at all. But Blackbeard, on the other hand, I saw this as a fan cast and immediately can't think of anyone else. Carl Urban from if you've seen The Boys, uh, he plays Billy Butcher, and yeah, I mean, I think he's New Zealand actually, a New Zealand actor. But yeah, he would be. It'd be very interesting for to have a New Zealand actor play Blackbeard, but I think he would be very have more Samoan look. I did already mention Somalian or Somalian or I don't know. Um, I did already mention for Kuma as Jason Momoa, um, although that's a Somalian, not Samoan. Um, but but yeah, like I think for uh, I guess Somali is different. Let me see. Okay. Um, but yeah, I think with this one is just kind of yeah, this one I just couldn't unsee it once I heard this cast, or not heard, but once I saw a fan cast that said this, and I just couldn't unsee it because of just how much I love him in The Boys. Don Flamingo, and this is another thing. There's a lot of the boys actors in this, and Anthony Starr. I don't know if he would fully be good in as Don Flamingo, but uh, again, I still only up to Impel Down, so I haven't really seen a whole bunch of Don Flamingo. Uh, but I don't know. He could be a very intimidating character. Um, Akianu. Yeah, I again, still just in a thing, but I think it would be an interesting cast. Yeah, here's Akianu, and the reason for this one. Um, you said he looked more like Akianu, but I think he's like the major. He's the most like powerful general, right? In or like he's the top guy, right? And I don't know how old he's supposed to be. Oh, Don Flamingo would be more Spanish Italian. Yeah, yeah, I kind of agree. I think in a is it Akenu? A- Akenu? Akenu. That's probably. I don't. Again, it's probably yeah. And for him, the reason I see a lot of wrinkles in his face, and again, haven't fully gone through the everything there, and I don't know fully about. I haven't actually gotten into uh um haven't really gotten to get into Marine Ford. Haven't had a chance to, but Sylvester Stallone, and there's a reason for this. If is he like 55, then maybe The Rock would be a better option. Um, but if Sylvester Stallone, the only reason I did this was because Sylvester, because for Whitebeard, uh, yeah, okay, Akenu. If he's like 55, then maybe The Rock would be a better actor. But again, it'd be a lot of these are just kind of he Stallone. There's another role in the Marines that Stallone would fit. Okay, yeah. I mean, I could see um I could see Stallone being in a uh being if there's another like big bad beyond a Kanu or then yeah, and he's like, or maybe not big bad, but like an older guy in the Marines, that then maybe that would work. Um, Probably be Korean. Oh yeah, yeah. I think yeah. I mean, honestly, you could like Korean or Chinese or anything like that. Asian actor. A thought just popped in my head. Jet Li or like any of like probably Jet Li would be a might be a fit for that as well. Um, I'm just thinking of super like big action stars. And speaking of action stars, we've got Whitebeard right here. I don't know. Arnold Schwarzenegger, like the dude that's like, I think that's. I mean, I this could also just be because I like it's hard to see him with like just a mustache, but I don't know. Like I think it's just like the big, old, tough guy that just kind of like screams Schwarzenegger for me. Aquino needs to be more imposing, not like Jet Li's a little less so. I don't know. He's pretty imposing in I don't know. I always liked him in the what was the Lethal Weapon he was in, where he was the bad guy. I think it was 4, but yeah, I don't know. Um, Actually, I think Whitebeard is like 70. If I looked it up, and I think Whitebeard is actually like 70s. Now, granted, don't know if Arnold is more in his 80s. Uh, he might be pushing his 80s right now. I don't know. But I think he's actually pushing 70s. 72 is Schwarzenegger. Or is that Whitebeard? Yeah, I do acknowledge that portion of it, that there are a lot of flashbacks with it, and that would be a lot tougher with Arnold. But I mean, to be fair, that would be a lot tougher with Arnold. With the Flash Beard 72 for Whitebeard. Um, yeah, let me see how old Schwarzenegger is. Um, yeah, let me check to see how. But yeah, like I think the biggest problem would be some of those flashback scenes is like because it's like if you can't have it Arnold be the flashbacks, those would be tough because I wouldn't want like CGI Arnold, but yeah, and I think most of the actors are going to be. I think Jamie Lee Curtis doing Kureha is probably going to be the only like big actor that we're going to get, and I'd be totally okay with that because very uh I would be I'd be totally okay with that, and I think that's kind of been the way. Like these are just like casts that I feel like would be um interesting in these. Uh, these would just be interesting casts or something uh, that I think would be cool to see. Hemsworth for a good young Whitebeard. Yeah, I could see that too. Um, but not. I don't know if that would be weird for Arnold and Hemsworth. I don't know that would be. It'd have to have a different Whitebeard for the older Whitebeard as well. Um, yeah, but yeah. Anyway, that's what I've got for mine. I'm gonna and it's gonna go up on YouTube for all you hatters on YouTube. Have a good one and goodbye.